Thank you, Brian. Any large corporation that wants to locate in the city of Denham Springs is obviously going to be welcomed. We have to make sure that it's the kind of corporation that we'd like to see here, the kind of jobs that we'd like to see here. That's kind of a broad parameter you just threw out there. The jobs are very, very important for all of our citizens, and if they produce sales tax that we can use, then obviously that's going to be a big factor on whether or not we really want them here or not. But the commitment from the city will be to entice as many corporations that want to come here and provide whatever services that we can, and be responsible at the same time to all of our citizens here in the city. The mayor's office and the permitting office and all the government functions that are important to that corporation, as mayor, we make sure that they're all accessible, and that we do everything in our power to make sure that we make their transition here as quickly and effortlessly as possible. Growth is very, very important. It's something that we all strive for, and we have to make sure that we foster that as much as we can.
If a major corporation approaches me as mayor of Denham Springs, after I finish celebrating, we'll sit down and fix the problem and address the situation. But one thing I will not do is give them a list of criteria to decide whether or not we want them or not. Ladies and gentlemen, major businesses are going to become harder to locate. When they come to you, you make yourself available. You do everything you can to attract businesses to Denham Springs. You see, that's how Bass Pro came out from the TIFs and our enterprise zones. We've got to be pro-business in Denham Springs and not pretend that we're better than some of these businesses that we're too good for. Because the heartbeat and the backbone of our city is being a pro-business. Let me just say this. November the 5th, no one is going to open the newspaper and say, "Ha-ha, I'm going to Denham Springs. Look who just got laid." No, they come to Denham Springs to bring revenue, and so they can make a profit at times.
Right for some development within the city limits. We still need to expand the antique district downtown. We have some nice restaurants down there. Without a doubt, Florida Boulevard is a major thoroughfare that we could entice several businesses to come to Denham Springs and locate. And let's try to rehab some of the older locations that we have there. For 3 years, I was with Associated Grocers as director of retail development. And that's where if a retailer wanted to build a new store, I would go out and do the market analysis and put together a package with all this information and try to get this gentleman or this lady, whoever the business owner was, the best possible location in the city, do the analysis and find out what his sales were going to be so that he can put together the package to secure the lending and operate a successful business within the city. And I promise you, as mayor, that's what I'll continue to do. I'll be the salesman for the city of Denham Springs.
I am the only candidate for mayor who owns a business inside the city limits of Denham Springs. I know what it's like to have to make a mortgage, payroll, salaries, utilities, maintenance, and then to have the government turn and put more restrictions on the small business owner. Ladies and gentlemen, business is the backbone of our community. If a business owner comes to the city of Denham Springs, I can feel and know the enticements and the things that are important to them. I have a specific person tell me, John, he's a medical field, and if I mention his name, you'd know him. He said, I built a business in Walker, and I built a business in Denham Springs, and the one in Denham Springs cost me $100,000 more for the exact business. We've got to become a user, business-friendly city.
Thank you, Ken.
Will not affect me, good or bad. And I think that's quite frankly a good thing, that I can remain independent and not be influenced by my own needs. Sign ordinances are necessary. Sign ordinances are very conducive to making sure we have a safe atmosphere, not to impede traffic flow. The landscape ordinance, my goodness, if a few bushes in somebody's business is going to close them down, then they're probably doomed to fail in the first place. Landscaping makes our city beautiful. A sign ordinance keeps the signs at bay. Okay, I am pro-business. There's nobody more business-oriented than myself. I was director of retail development. My gosh, I ran 20 large supermarket operations in 3 states. I know what the regulations are out there, and they're not that prohibitive.
As this ordinance is written, Baton Rouge has food trucks, and when I asked our city attorney, we spent money on her going to draft this ordinance, and I said, where'd you get this ordinance? She said, well, I called Baton Rouge, they don't even have a food truck ordinance. And they have lots of food trucks. So she had to go to New Orleans to get a food truck ordinance. We don't have a food truck problem. We have a problem of people not being business friendly in the city of Denham Springs. That's our biggest problem. So I support local business. I support a man who invests his hard-earned money to create, and DHH already regulates safety as far as placing food problems. Time's up. This ain't talking about the propane tanks.
Thank you, Ken. And our final questions from Mr. Wascom. Full question number 4. And question number 4 has to do with City Council. The Denham Springs City Council will have at least 3 new members. If elected, what steps will you take to ensure a good working relationship with the new council?
That's a good question, Brian. Thank you. You know, I'm excited about the city of Denham Springs. I'm excited about the future. I sit here and I've worked with some on this side and I've worked with some on this side in my 16 years on the Denham Springs City Council. And I can assure you, when Mayor Herbert Hoover will come to meet the mayor of Denham Springs, he served on the council, so he understands the legislative body. And then Jim DeLong, before he came to be mayor for the city of Denham Springs, he served 4 years on the Denham Springs City Council. And before Jimmy Durr, each one of these mayors to understand the difference between the executive branch and the legislative branch. And I think strongly that's why Denham Springs is the prosperous city that we are. Each mayor has stood on the shoulders of the one before. So I encourage each one of my city council members on both sides, whoever's elected, I promise not to bring legislation to you without discussing everything with you, unlike a food truck ordinance. I commit to you not to bring any legislation without getting your full cooperation before a city council meeting. I commit to every one of you here tonight.
Mayor Durbin, who has served our city well for 25 years, 13 years on the city council, and 12 years as our mayor, has a YouTube video out there, and he says in the video that in no way, shape, or form did his 13 years on the council prepare him to be the mayor of Denham Springs. It's because the mayor is an administrator. The mayor has to work with people. The mayor has to work with budgets. And most importantly, the mayor has to understand what it takes to work with the citizens. Everything is about you guys. Everything is about the citizens from a safety standpoint. As far as working with the council, I think it's going to be very, very easy. It'll be a smooth and easy transition. We're all going to be working towards the same goal.